Alright guys, hey, welcome to Dice Commando on the Commando cast. We are up here in beautiful, amazing Bellingham, Washington, having some beers and brews with our Dice of Failure friends, and we got to talking, and it is time for a deck tech episode. So, take it away, sir.
Yes.
Tell us who you are first.
I'm James. I'm the sober one on the Dice of Failure group.
That's Wyatt laughing in the background. There.
Yeah, always is. And I am here to talk about I'm here really to give a eulogy for the Shadowcaster deck, the Shadowcaster Reset deck. And I've been playing this exact version of the Shadowcaster Reset deck since very early across the Galaxy meta. Actually, since I saw the Commando cast do a video on it, which was great. And this is the setup I love to run. It is Elite L3 with double Rebel Engineer. Obviously, L3 is great as if she dies, you get a free mod, and she got that sweet double focus side. I love having two Rebel Engineers just for the consistency of getting mods. It allows me to run just 6 mods in my entire deck, which I'll get to later. And then Theed, even post errata, is still going to be the best option, just because you can turn a blank into one of your dice. It just gives you really a lot more consistency if you're winning the battlefield roll-off, which you don't have bad odds for. Your average roll is going to be about 4, and you can always spike that to 6 or 8 if you get really lucky. So yeah, it's these 3 armor reinforcement. And you're pulling out the Shadowcaster. Stubbornly, I have never once ran a backup vehicle. Everyone has told me to do that because
that's it. So no N1 ever.
No N1, no Falcon, no 4 cost or 6 cost. Yeah, N1 is probably one that I would give on. My only issue is I think people run backup vehicles as insurance if the Shadowcaster goes down, if it gets vandalized.
Well, and the N1 can reset too.
And the N1 can reset, and that's probably what might push it over the edge. But there's 2 things that go into that. One, I really don't like floundering, and that's that if it's like round 2, round 3, and my Shadowcaster has been blown up, even if I can play another vehicle that same round, I probably already lost the game. Whether or not it's that round or the next round or the round after that, I just don't like it. So I want it to be over with. It lets me trim a lot of the fat in my deck.
I mean, I can't argue with that. Destiny's a fast game. One and done, right?
Yeah.
You're either in or you're out.
With the N1, it does reset, but this deck, you'll notice, has what I've always called the 2 cost rule. And that's that this is based on the reset, so this is based on getting the R2 Astromech. You spend 2 resources, exhaust, and you can reset the Shadowcaster. So the 2 cost rule is you have to ask yourself the question of any card that you would put in your deck that costs 2. Is it better than resetting the Shadowcaster? And the N1 is yes. Well, it might be because it can reset the Shadowcaster in and of itself, but it does cost 3. So if I were to give on one vehicle, it would be the N1. I just haven't yet. So as I said, the deck runs 6 mods. These are the only other dice cards in the deck besides BB-8. Which is not a mod. That's the only one thing that doesn't quite synergize with the Rebel Engineers because you can't search for them, but you can't pull them when you activate and get that after you activate trigger. And then of course these. So this is BB-8 was actually a late ad for me. I happened to pull it in a pack right before the most recent GQ in Washington, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll try it, and it worked really well. I love the focus. I love being able to delay a mod attachment. So I should have been playing this a lot sooner. But yeah, as I said, this build right here lets me run very little mods and focus on a lot of events. And it really comes down to this in one way or another. It's get the money to get your Shadowcaster out and load it up with mods. A lot of times you feel like you're playing solitaire in this deck because if you get a Shadowcaster with a triple laser turret and a dorsal or L3, you're pretty much just playing your own game because it's really hard to stop at that point. So should we go into events now?
Heck yeah, I think that's the sexy tech, right? It's all your events. So
that's the sexy tech, and that's the one where I've definitely changed up a lot. One thing that you'll see in a lot of decks that run L3 are cards that try to kill L3, and I'm just over it. I've been over it for a while, putting cards in my deck that help L3 die. I had run one, which was Blaze of Glory. That's the one you activate and you can remove opponent's dice showing damage and deal all that damage to one. So you can overkill, and actually in a tournament I did, when going against a Vader, I did overkill L3 by like 7 to remove a lot of Vader's dice, which felt really good. I got her on the Shadowcaster for that and saved myself a lot of damage. So like one is probably my limit, and it's got to be one like that.
And you used to play Decoy, right? In the Snoke era?
In only actually just in, well, yeah, so Decoy is on here. I ran 2 of in the most recent GQ, and that's because like, I think that was the only time that people realized that this stopped Snoke's power action. And then I knew that Snoke 3-wide was going to be a big deal in the GQ, and I only played against the one, but yeah, that Decoy got down round 1, and it was hard for him to overcome. So that, like, they had to use all his dice for like focus and everything like that to get to resources naturally. And at that point, he was only able to play the entourages round 1, which is still really good, but he didn't have the focus to really deal with them, so he sort of took what he got. And I was able to win that. I won that round 2, actually.
Did you get 3 resets in round 2?
Yeah, so that's actually one of 2 games where I got triple activation on the Shadowcaster.
All right, so yeah, let's see that events back and see how you got there.
Yeah, so...
Oh, we did have those, yeah.
I'll just include this in here. So this is the mitigation package that I have going on here. Oh, there we go, I thought I had one more. So of course, Suppressifier, Red Hero, gets to run this really great card that's good against Vader, gives you some pacing so you don't have to spend your entire turn removing. Automated defense makes a whole lot of sense. This was the obvious replacement when Pinned Down rotated out, because especially in this deck,
and she's always
L3
on.
is a droid,
yeah, always
and
on.
even when she becomes a mod, she loses her character, but not her droid subtype. And if someone really wanted to fight you on it, all of these guys are droids too, so you have a lot of options. This one's always.
It doesn't matter if they fight you or not. That's the correct ruling. So.
Yeah, yeah. Easy pickings, of course, spot yellow. And your spot yellows are always going to be pretty safe because no one really wants to kill L3. Garbage shoots make a whole lot of sense, especially later in the game where you've already got your mods. I say later in the game, really round 2 you should be able to garbage shoot because you probably already have 3 mods at least in combination of on the caster or in.
But you're never doing her because she has 2 dice anyway, right? So
she has 2 dice and that
focus.
2 focus. Yeah, it's way too good. Outgun, of course, took me a while to get on the outgun train because I was really thinking like, okay, I got to spend a lot of resources to make this work. But even at worst, this is a 1-for-1. You know, it's just going to be as good as automated defense if you just want to spend the 1 resource to remove a die that you need to remove in a pinch. But you can also just completely wipe their board almost. You know, it's 3 mods. And this is the tech that
The super tech?
The super tech. So
are you sure you want to lay it down? That's the question.
I'll lay it down. I think I've been the only one playing this card, and I played it at the GQ, and someone was like, wait, what does this card do? And it's Inflame. It's a 0-cost event coming out of across the galaxy where, with ambush, you turn an opponent's side with side showing damage. Now, when everyone saw that, they're like, oh yeah, it works with easy pickings and into the garbage chute because you can choose which side it is, pick them.
And it has ambush.
And it has ambush,
yes.
so then you can do that. But honestly, even taking these 2 out of the equation, I honestly think this card is way better than people give it credit for. Because it does have the ambush, so you kind of just save yourself a little bit. There was one round, I remember at least once, where it's my opponent discarded all their cards in their hand. They finally got that black side they wanted. I just turned it to a blue side. And then they had no way to do it. And there's lots of ways, like a lot of these 0-cost mitigation cards, like Forsaken even, will remove a die showing a value of 2 or less. You can almost always use Inflame to give yourself 2 value. And sure, the die is still on the table, so it's not quite as good, but it is a really great card. 0 out of your hand, keep people off resources.
Oh, that's good tech.
I remember I did that for Vader. Like
we used it a ton in draft.
Yeah,
but it hasn't seen a ton in standard. But
yeah, well,
with those 2, absolutely.
Yeah, with these 2 especially, I think that pushes it over the edge in Hero. But yeah, so that's the mitigation package. I also love using Inflame against Vader. Keep him off the 2 resource side, put him to the 2 melee side. Not bad at all. So I want to get more money, obviously, so I run the logistics and truces. You can honestly replace these for well-connecteds, but at the same time, too, a nice truce is really good to surprise people. I've surprised people round 1 hitting that 6 side when I only have 2 resources.
Oh, gotcha.
When I only have 2 mods on it. So maybe there's argument for either or, giving your opponent a card versus giving your opponent a resource with ambush, though. So So, fun fact, I have never in a game that mattered had my Shadowcaster been blown up. The main things that run into are going to be vandalized. Character dice are a big part of that. You can scruffy for things like that. That's why this is in here. It's the counter card, as Zach says. You look for those things that you think are going to be able to.
No, as I say all the time, if you're running yellow and not running scruffy, you're crazy.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yellow hero, obviously.
Yeah, and so I'm worried about Vandalize, I'm worried about N1 Starfighter, but those are all things I can play around.
And now Desperate Measures.
I can't play around Desperate Measures like this is the eulogy. This deck is great. This is a little one-of that I like to put in, Defensive Racing. It's a nice tech. Just if they do remove before you have your triple laser turret out.
So that's play only if one or more of your vehicle dice were removed during an opponent's last round. Spot a yellow character, roll one of those removed dice into your pool.
Yeah, so they remove the Shadowcaster die, maybe during or after your triple laser turret. There's some things that can get around the triple. And
just note that L3 still has to be alive and not as a mod.
Yeah, and that's why this is really only a one-of, because one, there's not gonna be many opportunities for them to actually remove the Shadowcaster die. It's really hard to do once you have the triple laser turret out. And two, yeah, if L3 is ever a mod, this card is dead. So, last one is We're Home. I don't know why this card exists. I mean, it's
the Han Chewie Falcon card, man.
I know, but that's the thing. Like, it's activate one of your yellow vehicles and up to 2 of your scoundrels. Full stop. You may remove one of your dice showing resource to ready that vehicle. So often is round 2, round 3. I just roll out the engineer. He rolls resource, and then I play We're Home because you don't actually have to activate the 2 scoundrels. So I play We're Home, activate my load.
You don't have to activate the vehicle either. It's no then.
Well, it's that vehicle to ready that vehicle.
Oh, that vehicle. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So yeah, you activate it and then ready it immediately, and then if you have the R2 astromech, you can ready it again. That's one of the ways that I did a triple activation. The other way was just with an R2 overwrite. I love doing that. You have an R2 in your replacement anyway. You have an R2 out, you reset, and then you replace the exhausted with a new one, and then reset again. Yeah, this deck does a lot of damage real quick. Most of the games that I win are won on round 2 or early on round 3. It's caused the most divide among our group because Wyatt hates it. Yeah, most divide amongst our group because Wyatt hates this deck with a fiery passion.
I'm not gonna pour one out. I'm just glad it's dead.
He's glad it's dead. So yeah, as I said, I've been playing this deck for a while. I think where I have it is in a really good spot. Because it trims out a lot of fat. It doesn't focus on trying to have a contingency plan. It's just doing its thing and daring you to stop it. So
awesome. Well, hey, thanks, man, for sitting down and giving us your super secret tech. We know you've been playing this probably more than most people in the worldwide community. So tuned is tuned, right? So it's worth it. So hey, if you guys like what you're seeing, this is the Dice Commando channel, but also Dice of Failure. Why don't you tell us about Dice of Failure just real quick?
Yeah, Dice of Failure. We're the first, best, and only podcast in the Pacific, Star Wars Destiny podcast in the Pacific Northwest.
Washington State.
Sorry, yeah, Washington State. My bad.
They've got Bellingham, Washington locked down.
We got this is our area, our turf. Okay. Yeah, we record. We usually twice a month. I just moved, so we pushed this back a week here. But,
so you're the organizer behind the operation?
Oh, we're all in it together. I do the editing.
Right.
Yeah, I do the editing and posting. So that's.
I was the one that originally said, James, we fight a lot. Why don't we fight with an audience and make it better?
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, you can find us on Podbean, iTunes, really your podcast app of choice, and we'll be posting on like Facebook and Reddit and all that stuff. So you'll see us around.
All right, great. Well, hey, thanks again, man. And if nothing else, go Commando.
A little better than us.
I was just like, go Commando. I didn't know what to do.